Our father, Peter Torres Jr., was born to parents Lola Witten Torres and Pedro Torres on December 2, 1933. From a young age, Dad wanted to make a difference in the world.
His school teachers recognized him as a leader early on. Graduating from Crockett Elementary on the city's west side in 1945, Miss Davidson wrote in his autograph book, "Dear Pete, it has really been swell knowing you since I tried to teach you writing in 5B. You have been a grand pupil and a swell patrol boy. Keep up your good work. Who knows, maybe someday you will be a 4-star general. Love, Miss Davidson." While Mrs. Mason wrote, "May you be the good helper always that you have been at Crockett School."
And a good accomplished man Dad became, graduating from Breckenridge High School in 1951 and immediately joining the Marine Corps at the age of 17. Once going through combat training at California's Camp Pendleton, he served in Korea and in 1954 received an honorable discharge after being awarded the Korean Service Medal with 2 combat clusters, the Good Conduct Medal, the National Defense Service Medal, and the United Nations Service Medal. 2 days after his discharge, Dad enrolled at San Antonio College, where he began work on a bachelor's degree in government. He completed his BA at St. Mary's, and upon graduating cum laude in 1957, taught history and civics at Edgewood High School while attending evening classes at St. Mary's Law School. Once receiving his law degree, Dad quickly became an active lawyer, with most of his practice focusing on criminal law, all the while raising a family.
By 1970, Dad had already been giving the GGL, San Antonio's Good Government League, which dominated our city's government for almost 20 years, a run for its money. In fact, he had been making himself heard since 1967 when he defeated the GGL in his first quest for public office. In his entire time in City Hall, though many will remember our father as being the thorn in the GGL side, he always fought for the common man and the common good. Meeting with community leaders in late 1968, Dad said, "Our principal challenge is still one that cannot be remedied by legislation. It is one that we must all undertake and in which I would ask that you join me. That is, to unite this community rather than divide it. Let us remove the artificial barriers which separate us into North San Antonio and South San Antonio, East San Antonio and West San Antonio. Let us be just one San Antonio, moving forward together as a community. Let us seek to supplant love where there is hate, compassion where there is intolerance, brotherhood where there is bigotry, and let us work for a community that abounds with reason and understanding."
At the formal opening of his campaign office on February the 21st, 1969, he told the crowd, "We need a government that is responsible to the feelings of the people. We need leaders in government who have a heart and who, when they see poverty, can feel impoverished, and when they see hunger, can feel the pangs of hunger." In March of that same year, after drawing a place on the ballot for the next election, Dad said, "I have sought to promote the principle that monopolies such as the GGL seeks to perpetuate are anathema to a democratic government, that issues vital to the public interest should be discussed in public chambers, that the 1/10 of 1% which controls the GGL and my opponent should not be allowed to ravage the community and its taxpayers, and that all the people of the community should find expression in any given issue."
Dad worked diligently on City Council to reach out to the community. He worked on development of neighborhood parks and the operation of a city-owned summer camp for young people, adopted a proposal for a home improvement licensing board to prevent consumer fraud, opposed bus fare and telephone rate increases, and worked for pay raises for police and firemen.
He brought a fresh perspective to city government. On October the 8th, 1970, speaking to Trinity University students, he said, "Human institutions by necessity have faults, and I dread the day when we, as a community, cannot be introspective enough to examine ourselves and to make change. For then, we are self-righteous, stale, bigoted, and unresponsive to human needs."
Though his bid for mayor in 1971 was unsuccessful, Dad's law practice continued to flourish, and he continued to be the fighter he was known to be on City Council. His nickname by this time had become Tiger. On June 13, 1975, Roddy Stinson said in his Express News column, Torres appears to be the champion of the little man. In December of that same year, our father was named with 14 others in San Antonio who were designated among the first group of certified legal specialists, receiving their certificate of criminal defense specialization.
Since that time, he has become certified and maintained his certification in consumer law, commercial law, and civil trial law, always remembering that everyone deserves competent, devoted counsel.
Having maintained an active practice for nearly 44 years, Dad continued his passionate commitment to our community and to the spirit which propelled him into public office during his entire legal career.
His accomplishments were wide and many, including the MABA Texas Lifetime Achievement Award in October 1998, the State Bar of Texas Hispanic Issue Section Reynaldo G. Garza Award of Merit for Lifetime Achievement in June 2000, and the prestigious St. Mary's Law Alumni Association's Henry B. Gonzalez Award in March 2006 for his vision and inspiration in the San Antonio community. In his later years, Dad spent his time watching sports, reading, and writing. He wrote a number of books, one of which shows us where Dad's heart still is and always will be.
From Mayor Sam. He decided to drive back to the campaign office downtown. It was only a mile and a half, but it seemed much longer tonight. Sam drove east on Martin Street toward town. He'd driven this route many times before. He grew up here. This was Sanchez country, and Martinez country, and Berlanga country. As he passed the Garcia Bakery, he thought of how, as a kid, he'd stand outside the window, looking in at Mr. Garcia mix dough and throw it into the big ovens. And how, as the small loaves of warm pan dulce came out of the ovens, he would be the first in line to buy the bread and take it home to eat with hot Mexican chocolate, especially after throwing his paper out on cold winter days. And you remember the smell of flour tortillas around 6 p.m. that permeated the air every evening, and the men coming home from work in their soiled clothes to their happy homes. The Buddha said, "Your work is to discover your world, and then, with all of your heart, give yourself to it."
To our Father, the man who embraced his world and his work with all of his heart, the man who was always true to himself and to his community, may your dream live on. In honoring you, let us celebrate the achievements of our collective past and hope for a common, united future.